Hello, everyone. Welcome to this free lesson on present simple tense with the explanation of the verbal tense and very useful tips that you can use when you are learning other verbal tenses. Si hablas español, no te preocupes porque vas a ver subtítulos y algunas partecitas en español. My name is Jessica. I'm a teacher. I'm an Argentinian teacher of English. And I've been teaching for 14 years now. At the moment, I am giving online lessons only. So let's see. Today, we're going to have around 15 minutes lesson based on present simple. Yeah. So let's see. The first thing, people, to consider, what is a verb tense? This is very important because one of the reasons why many people don't use verbal tenses correctly is because they don't learn them correctly and they don't practice them correctly. A very, very, very simple definition is that a verb tense is just a combination of words. It is a structure that we use to express an action that corresponds to a particular moment in time. Very simple definition. So that's what we need to think when we learn a verbal tense. Okay, esto que estoy aprendiendo es a set of words, unas palabras, una estructura that I can combine in a way, this plus this and this, when I want to refer to a specific time or a specific duration or a specific combination of actions. It's just that. This is not abstract. ¿Ya? Ese es uno de los mayores errores, aprenderlo como algo abstracto, como una fórmula. Okay? It's always a combination of things that I use when I talk about my routine, when I talk about yesterday, when I talk about my plans. That's what you need to think. This is the first top tip that I can give you. Always learn verb tenses with their use, which means presente simple. ¿Para qué lo uso? Para hablar de esto, de estas acciones, de esta cosa que vamos a ver en un momento. You shouldn't learn like, okay, present simple. Person, verb with S. Past simple. Person, verb. That doesn't help much. I will give you a few tips today. Yeah, this is the first one. So let's see. Let's have a look at some examples of present simple. Well, this is one of the most important things you need to do. Always find examples. Okay, you don't start learning a verbal tense if you haven't seen examples first. We have a question. Do you live here? We have another question. How do you feel about me? We have another here. How long does it take? ¿Cuánto tiempo toma to learn Korean? We have affirmative sentences. This is why women live longer. Women live longer than men. We have negative. I don't speak English. He doesn't know. A woman who doesn't wear perfume has no future, according to Coco Chanel. All these are examples of present simple. Siempre empiezo aprendiendo un tiempo verbal, primero viendo cómo funciona, viendo qué ejemplos. ¿Ya? If you have classes with a teacher, she will explain why this is present simple, why this is, why this is. There are different reasons here and different uses that I'm going to explain just now. Let's see. As I told you, always learn the verbal tense with uses. Okay, so let's look at the first use of present simple. Habits, routines. For example, I always get up early. My dog wakes me up every day. You don't go to work by bus. My teacher doesn't wear a uniform. Do your parents smoke? Does your boyfriend usually call you? Todas estas oraciones indican una repetición, un hábito, una rutina. For that kind of actions, we need the structure of present simple that I'm going to explain in a moment. So when you want to talk to someone about a habit, your brain should look for the correct structure. Okay? All right. Le voy a preguntar algo diario. Okay. Do you, ¿ya? O no, le quiero decir que yo no lo hago, nunca lo hago. Yes, I don't. Okay, that's how verbal tenses should work in your head. Very important things. Most verbal tenses are followed or include specific time expressions. These are the time expressions we usually, very, very usually use with present simple. This is another tip that I will give you in a moment. Learn the verb tenses with the expressions. Cuando en mi cabeza piense en always, voy a usar estas estructuras que aprendí para present simple. I always go. She always goes. I never see. I never have. When I say every day, twice a week, she calls me twice a week. Yes, not she's calling twice a week. No, it doesn't match. If you always practice, she calls me twice a week. I call her once a day. We meet every week. Va a llegar un momento en que si yo quiero decir I'm calling her once a day, me va a parecer que me choca, porque nunca lo dije así. Yeah? That's one of the techniques that you need to practice. Let me show you another use of present simple. So many times we use it for states, something that doesn't change, a situation that is permanent. I live in Europe. My sister has long hair. They don't they don't like meat. Permanent situation. My husband doesn't speak Italian. Permanent state. I want to ask you about something permanent or kind of permanent. Where do you live? What does she do? Is she a teacher? Is she a doctor? What does she do? Okay. Again, habits, states. Para esas dos cosas, por ahora, voy a usar este set de estructuras que les voy a enseñar ahora. We don't associate this use to any expression, time expression, because the action is permanent. Yeah, so we don't say always, never. That's a different thing. The verbal tense is the same. Okay. Another case when we use present simple is with stative verbs. This is a bit more connected to, we study usually in intermediate level, but I can teach you a little bit. I know the answer. Okay, so I know the answer now. Now I know the answer. But I don't say I am knowing the answer, because this is a stative verb. Stative verbs don't work with ing. Here you have many examples that you can watch, you can read after the video, you can repeat and watch with time. My cat likes you. Oh, look, he likes you. Yes, now, but I can't say he is liking you because it is a stative verb. He likes you. At the moment, you don't look happy. Yes, but you don't look. It's not you aren't looking. Okay? These are because, this is because we have stative verbs. We have stative verbs of opinion, of like and dislike, of appearance, of senses, what I hear, what I look. This looks good. He seems to be okay. Do you want, not are you wanting, do you want more food? What does this mean? What does succinct mean? ¿Qué significa? No, ¿qué está significando? Okay, that's a very important use of present simple, not with time expressions, but with verbs. Acá pasa lo mismo, de tantas veces que repetí. I know, she knows, do you know, does she know? Si alguna vez quiero decir knowing, por lo menos va a sonar raro, right? I am knowing the answer. No, I know the answer. That comes with another tip that I will give you in just a second. Okay, sometimes we use present simple for the future. I will tell you a little thing about this. For example, the train leaves at 5:30. classes start tomorrow. What time does the movie start? We use some time expressions, but these time expressions are not exclusively for present simple. So be careful with this. We use present simple for the future when we know that something is happening at a specific time, not because we want to, not because we want to do it, we plan to do it, but because somebody has decided. The train company, the cinema has decided. So we know that this happens at a certain time. It happens on a certain day because it has been decided. Son cosas que suceden a esa hora, ese día, porque alguien lo decidió y fue así. No es mi plan hacerlo. ¿Ya? All right. Now, let's get to business. Let's get to the structure. Very important top tips. When you study structures of verb tenses, compare affirmative, negative question, affirmative, negative question. I go, I don't go. Do I go? She goes, she doesn't go. Does she go? Repetition. Repetition helps a lot. Evita las confusiones de she goes, she isn't go. No, como she isn't go. She goes, she doesn't go. Does she go? Yeah, it looks a little learning by heart, but it's not by heart, no es de memoria. It's the magic of repetition when it comes to language learning. Always include examples, yeah? Don't go to study a verbal tense if you don't have any example. If you study person, have or has, verb in the third column, okay. That will fly away. You will never see it again. So study person, have or has, verb in the third column. I have been here. She has told me this. Always with examples. And this very important tip. Study the structure of the verbal tenses, but then try to turn it into a simple memory help. And I will explain this in the following slides. Have a look at this, people. The structure of present simple, the precise structure will be this. So depending on the person we talk about, we use always person and verb. But the verb can have S or no. Probably you have studied this, no? If I say I, the verb needs no S. I go to school. We meet every weekend. My parents cook very well. You play the guitar. Routines, habits. Now, if I say my husband works in the morning, routine, habit, es. Porque la persona es tercera persona singular, so he, she, it, necesita esa es en los verbos. Remember, habits, routines, states, stative verbs. No si hablo de lo que hice, de lo que voy a hacer, no. So always, this structure for this use. My mother has 4 children. My dog eats meat. What happens with the negative? Cuando digo que no, algo no sucede, no lo hago. Well, we need the auxiliary, don't or doesn't. If the person is I, you, we, they don't do something. For example, I don't speak Japanese. You don't live with me. We don't watch films. My brothers don't work in the evening. But he, she, it vuelve a necesitar esa S. ¿Qué va a pasar al auxiliar? My brother doesn't speak English. My sister doesn't get up early at the weekends. Doesn't has the S and the verb is just infinitive. In the questions, here I have very, very good tips, but I don't have time today, but very, very good tips to help you practice questions in English, because the format of the questions is almost always the same. The auxiliary, always in the questions in English, you need to start with a verb or with a WH. What, when, how, why. You never start a question with the person. Okay. In the case of asking for routines, habits, states, stated verbs, or the future when something has decided what's happening, in all those cases, do you, does he, does your mother, does your cat, do your friends, do the politicians do something? For example, do people buy lots of clothes in your country? Do your friends cook? Does your best friend visit you normally, routine? Does your dog bark? Whoa, a lot. If you need to, you can add a WH word. What do you do? Where does your husband work? How often does your best friend call you? This is something in Spanish for my students who speak Spanish. Les digo, ese es el cantito. Una vez que yo me aprendí el cantito, me va a ayudar con todas las preguntas de todos los tiempos verbales. ¿Ya? This is a tiny bit complex, so I can explain it to you if we meet again. Let's see. Now, I have the structure, the complex, let's say, explanation. But remember, I told you this tip, uno de los tips, study the structure, but then turn it into something simple. Una vez que ya la aprendí, ya la practiqué, la hago sencilla. So from this, we go to this. Oh, wait, to this. Person and verb, sometimes with S. Negative, person, don't or doesn't. Questions, do or does, and the person. Una vez que ya la aprendí, la simplifico, porque ya recuerdo que he, she, it lleva S. Acá ya me doy cuenta que necesito un verbo. Acá también, si no uso el verbo principal, no estoy hablando de nada, right? So simplify it. And this is the type of memory help that you can have in your notebook. Very easy to find when you have classes or when you are having conversation classes or talking to someone on the phone, whatever. You have it with you and you say, okay, I don't speak Italian, but my husband speaks Italian. Si lo tengo a mano y sé dónde es y sé cuándo lo tengo que usar, habits, routines, states, es más fácil que lo use. Si yo me tiro a hablar, right? If I want to talk and I said, my husband speak Italian. So you're not ready. Study the verb, understand the use, the verbal tense, understand the use, understand the structure, and then go for something simple, not abstract, okay? What you need to think is, para hablar de rutinas, hábitos, estados, verbos que no cambian, verbos stative, uso la S. You can simplify it as much as just that. Habit, routine, states, S. Because once you study it, you remember, okay, supuesto, si nunca estudié, no sé qué es la S. But if you studied the verb, you will say, okay, S. He, she, it, S, doesn't, does. Yes, so try to simplify it. That's going to work. I promise it's going to work. Sometimes it can happen that you might need some help of a teacher. The teacher will help you, will make you say some things on purpose. and you will practice the tense on purpose, and the teacher will correct you, and the teacher will tell you, okay, think, habits, routine. Okay, yes, okay, she doesn't. Now, after you understand, after you have understood the verbal tense, you need to practice. Practice, practice, and practice, because practice makes perfect. I have never met anyone who has just studied the verbal tense and then used it. Everyone needs to practice a lot. Some people, not so much. Some people, constantly. But practice makes perfect. And there are many ways to practice verbal tenses. Yes, one of them is grammar exercises, but please, this should not be the only thing you do. If you only practice tenses with grammar exercises, when you speak, you will be in trouble. It will be very difficult to speak. Other techniques, some ways, a few, algunas, are repetition of sentences, methods that make you repeat sentences. You can find examples in songs. You can find examples on TV series. You can find online many, many things. I know many that I can tell you next time if we meet. Describe your routine. Si sé que este tiempo verbal se usa para rutinas, me preparo una presentación de mi rutina, la rutina de mi familia, my husband's routine. I prepare it. I try, not writing, but I try to find some words, and then I say, okay, my mom wakes up early. She doesn't go to work. Prepare it. Just speak and speak and speak and speak as much as you can with the use that you know that the verbal tense needs, right? Contrast. Very important. Contrast. I work. She works. You don't like rock music. She doesn't like rock music. Contrast all the time, because when you repeat these sentences in this kind of contrast, you reduce the chances of making a mistake. I work, she works. I go, she goes. I play, he plays. Es muy poco probable que después diga I plays. Lo repetí tanto, lo contrasté tanto. Yeah? So practice makes perfect. Perfect. There are many other ways. And actually, I would like to show you one of the grammar exercises that you can do here with me. After you practice the structure, go to a grammar exercise immediately. And then you will see if you understood or not. For example, here, she works. That is the only possible option, because he, she, it needs the S. My father, this is negative, doesn't smoke. This is a habit that he doesn't have. So present simple with doesn't. I, this is a habit or a state in my life. I don't eat meat. I don't do it. The person I, negative, don't. A question. Tom, what do you think? Does Tom read a lot of books? Does he? Not do Tom, does Tom. Sometimes, esto es muy importante, que cuando ya aprendí a conectar, sometimes se refiere al present simple o a las estructuras con la S, sometimes me lleva a esas estructuras. We sometimes listen to the radio in the morning. Yes? One more, let's do one more. Alice and Mark. Mark, two people, plural. Alice and Mark, what do you think? Don't live. Si fuese solamente Mark, Mark doesn't live. But Alice and Mark don't live because there are two of them. Great. Let's go back. So let's see. All these tips that I have given you, actually, there is one more. One very important tip that I will give you. But first, let me tell you how you can learn more about more verb tenses in this same way. Well, today we did it very quickly, but you can repeat the lesson. This lesson is for you. It's for free. You can download it. Now, if you want to keep learning with these methods and many, many more tips that I have, I invite you to my verbal tenses and speaking course. This is the first time I am launching this course, so I'm really happy about it. We're going to have 9 lessons in total in the month of May. We're going to start in May. I will send you the first recorded lesson in April. So there are 5 lessons that are recorded. You can do it at your own time when you can practice the structure, the use, and the tips. I will present the verbal tense with the structure, more tips than today, more time than today, more examples than today, and a lot of extra practice. And then we're going to have 4 lessons to speak. So you practice the verbal tense, and then we meet and you speak, you use it. So it's a very good opportunity. The live lessons are going to be on May the 3rd, the 10th, the 17th, and the 24th at 8 p.m. Central European time. Yeah, this is the time in Hungary, the Netherlands, France, yeah, Germany. Now, in this course, I tell you very quickly what you're going to see. So you're going to practice all these verbal tenses. You can stop the video, you can pause, and you can read. These verbal tenses correspond to the level pre-intermediate. But if you are intermediate, it's a very good chance to practice them again. All the classes include explanation, learning tips, secrets that I always give to my students. And then we have the speaking lesson altogether. There won't be more than 7 students. 7 students is the top for each lesson. So you will have opportunities to speak. You're not going to have 20 people in a class or 10. Okay, the top is 7. You will receive all this material for each lesson, before each lesson. All the lessons are recorded, so you can repeat them. And last but not least, pieces of advice, consejos, how you can integrate different verbal tenses, how you can actually make this work. Que no quede esto de los tiempos verbales, no quede en el libro, en la página, en las oraciones sueltas. How to actually integrate verbal tenses when you speak. How to use your type of intelligence. How to improve your fluency. What techniques can you use? What methods you can use? And we're also going to learn vocabulary because we're going to have speaking lessons. Yeah? Now, all this for the 5 recorded lessons, 4 live lessons of 1 hour, all the material, and around 2 extra hours of practice, verb tenses practice a week, which should be at least €100 minimum because you have 9 lessons and lots of material. This course I am offering for €80, which is less than €9 a class. But paying before April the 15th, you're going to have the same course for €70, people. This is around €7 a class, which is a very, very good opportunity. And I will be in charge of the course. I have 14 years experience doing this. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? I'm not somebody who has not studied this. I can give you the real tips you need and the real support you need to finally have the tools to use verbal tenses correctly. Yeah, good opportunity. So look, the top tip, the last one of the most important tips that I want to give you today. This, use your strong point. Not everyone learns in the same way. We all have different types of learning. I will teach you how to do this in the course. You need to use your dominant intelligence type. Some people learn very well when they listen. So these people need to repeat sentences all the time. They need to find examples. They need to listen to songs. They need to receive recordings from the teacher. They need to listen to it many times and it sounds correct to them. Other people have a more kind of logical intelligence. These people need to write the formula, the structure, they need to write it down, and they need to see it and use it in sentences. I see it, I use it in sentences. And for them, it makes sense because they have this logical kind of intelligence. They need to see the logic, the formula. Other people have more like a graphic kind of memory. So they need to see colors. They need to see the parts of the structures in different colors with different words. They need to write things down. Also, the people who have kind of kinesthetic intelligence, they need to move. They need to write sentences a lot at first. They need to use paper, pieces of paper, and move them around. They need to use gestures. They need just to say, I work, I worked, I'm working, I will be working, or I will work. So you need to learn about this. You need to use your time wisely, because if you use your type of intelligence, you are more likely to succeed, more likely to actually learn. There are many different methods that I can teach you, and you need to try to find the one that works best for you. Okay, don't try to learn as everybody else because it will take longer. Okay, so last time I offer you the course. Don't miss it. It's a very good chance. I promise you're going to learn. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have learned a bit more about Present Simple. And I hope you try to practice it and use it this week, these days. And any question you have about the course, please don't hesitate to contact me. Have a good day. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.